Welcome to the Thriving Artist Podcast, where we share strategies and support for artists to thrive.
We know that the art world can feel like a lonely place, and we want to provide a network of support, impactful strategies, and an abundance of encouragement to help you grow your authentic art career.
We're your hosts. I'm Jamie Smith.
And I'm Kaylan Butine, and we are also the co-founders of the Thrive Together Network, a community of female and non-binary identifying artists and artists who are caregivers.
We truly believe in community over competition, and we're so glad you're here. Enjoy this episode. Welcome to this episode of the Thriving Artists Podcast. We're so glad you're here. I'm Jamie Smith, and I'm one of your hosts, and my art hero is Hilma F. Klimt, who made art that was truly not ready for this world.
And I'm Kaylan Butine, your second host, and my art hero is Louise Bourgeois, who truly embraced every part of herself and reflected her whole identity in her artwork. And we are here to share an episode with you today on how to make art when it feels like the world is falling apart. Okay, control freak admission. It's really hard sometimes to accept that we honestly have no control over the beautiful and chaotic world we live in. I find it really hard to take in the news, to read it, watch it, because it just always feels like there's something horrible happening. And the media can really make us feel very overwhelmed. My reaction to that is to just turn it off and avoid it all. What do you do? What do you do, Jamie?
Well, it feels like the only option these days. And then I feel like we head to the studio and we're asked to be vulnerable and pull out these thoughts. And it's very hard to do when our mind is full. But I also know that we both don't want to be non-citizens of the world. We care deeply. So it's not a good approach. So we really wanted to, Kaylan and I really have felt bogged down.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been a while now. It's been a lot of years now, just feeling like it is like the world's falling apart all the time. And it seems like 1 minute we get to a good spot and the next dumpster fire begins.
Yes.
And is one thing after another. So this is us trying to articulate some ideas we have around how to continue being these sweet, vulnerable artists in a time where our head is full.
Yeah. It is full. And, like Jamie said, we want to share some strategies. We don't have all the answers, but we're just trying to have a conversation with you about how we can keep making art, even when sometimes it feels pointless. I think when things are really hard, that's when we kind of call into question all of these things that we believe about ourselves as artists and, just about art in general. And we just want to remind you, today that the work that you do is important. And we hope that we can give you a few tips for staying engaged with that work, even when it's hard to do so. Mm-hmm. So the first thing that you can do, super simple, but this should be like the start of everything, right? Is to do some intentional breathing. This is a tip that I try to hold close to my heart and try to constantly remind myself to do, just to sit for a few minutes and notice my breath, to notice what is going in and out of my lungs, that inward and outward movement. I find that breathing in an intentional way really helps me and moves me toward a spirit of gratitude. It's like this flip is, or this light switch is flipped, and I just immediately start to feel, this well of gratitude for the breath that I have, for the body that I have, for the life that I have. And I think like starting in that way with your breath can remind you how lucky we are to be artists and to have these bodies that get to move through the world and get to process the world in physical ways by making marks, by thinking through big concepts and building and imagining stuff, we have a place to put our energy and our feelings about these hard things if we want to do that, if we choose to make art about, some of this hard stuff.
Mhm. I love when, you're saying the switch is flipped. It's the flipping. It was hard to get out because I was like, yeah, that is the key is, we get stuck in this bogged down feeling.
Mhm.
And gratitude seems to be that turn, where you
Mhm.
can actually get back to where you are, and it starts with that breath. So I
Yeah.
love that. And another big part of when we think of gratitude is also this sense of how lucky we are as artists and how can we help. So I think what happens in these times where it just feels doom and gloom and pointless, and that powerlessness is, I think it's the worst part of being sweet, vulnerable humans. We want to be able to have that control. We want to be able to help, and helping just flips it again. And we have a lot of skills as artists. I think we can get feeling like it's very pointless, but actually, we are doing so much. Not only are we making work, especially if you're pushing your art as a business sense, you're a marketer, you're a person that is a creative being, and that is super important. So, over the pandemic, during this time of the Ukrainian war, with reproductive rights being challenged in the US, Kaylan and I have seen so many artists and arts organizations that have used art to raise funds, also to bring a lot of awareness. We are the human people. We are a people built on stories and
Mhm.
images. Artists have been around since the beginning, so there is a point, and I think that can really help to kind of regain our power and our agency in times, is researching and figuring out where can you put some skills. And I know time is a valuable resource for all of us, but anytime I've said I would help, it has really changed how I've been able to be more inspired and engaged when the world is really difficult.
Absolutely. I love that, Jamie. Okay, so our third strategy to help you in your quest to keep making art when it feels like the world is falling apart around you is one that I love. It's to look backwards into the past and do some research. So, do some research and read about artists who have lived during hard times that came before you. There's so many, right?
It's
There's
sad, but
yeah,
it's true.
it's sad but true, but there is, just a plethora of women in art history who have had bad circumstances that were stacked against them, who've gone through really challenging things and seasons, and yet they still made art, right? This is like thinking through this, it's really inspiring and comforting, even though it is sad. Like, we all have gone through tragedy, we all go through horrible things. There's always war, hunger, abuse, you know, like, it's sad to say, but it's true that that's just part of the human condition. And, knowing and recognizing that there are artists who have gone before us that have gone through these hard things and looking at the powerful and amazing work that they've made is just a way to kind of ground yourself in the larger long-term narrative and bring some perspective. And so we just want to shout out a few accounts that kind of help with this research. Make sure you're following or check out Art Girl Rising, the Her Art Story Homage, Repaint History. All of these accounts tell amazing stories of women, non-binary and trans artists that have continued to make art even when it's been really hard and it's been a hard season in their life. So go check out those accounts and do some research.
I find that really comforting. I feel very connected to being an artist and seeing sort of the why it's important when you
Mhm.
see an artist's work that is being remembered. And it's also a snapshot for us to see what life was like at that point.
Mhm.
It's called art history for a reason. It's a part of our history. And that's why it's important. You never
Mhm.
know that your work could be included as a really important piece in this time that you're living in. And
Absolutely.
to that point of what we are living in is that I do think, and this is sort of our final wrap up, our fourth strategy is to join a community of artists.
Mm-hmm.
And artists, we are, Kaylan and I are very biased. We believe in community. We've dedicated ourselves to making space in the world for that, but we're not wrong. And having artists around you that are showing you that they're pushing through in the same time you're in is exceptionally motivating. So,
Mm-hmm.
of course, our community is the Thrive Together network where there's hundreds of artists right now that are all pushing forward and working together. But you could also just find fellow artists that you know, but it's about making these regular meetups and these times to really encourage each other that is going to make it all the difference. We always say that art, being an artist, is the long game.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lifestyle choice, and it's just so much more fun when you have fellow artists by your side, and it helps during these dark times.
I love that, Jamie. And yeah, we've dedicated our lives to building community because we believe that, people are what is going to move the world forward, and connections and community are essential to helping us, make it. And to do so without feeling alone. Okay, so the last tip or strategy I guess this isn't really a tip or strategy, but it's just the final point that we have to say to you. And this is, the one, if you don't hear anything, hear this. Jamie and I don't want you to stop. Please don't stop making your art. Please don't stop putting your gifts into the world. I know that it can seem really pointless when there's a lot of chaos around you. You may even be in a season where you're not feeling motivated, you're not feeling inspired. But please, in some small way or in major big ways, don't stop making your work. If you are feeling unmotivated or uninspired, I would invite you to just check out a different style of working, maybe trim down your practice, get things super simple, get off Instagram or social media, find ways that you can plug in to the work that you're making and into your art career and into your studio practice that feel good for you right now. But, keep your mental health at the forefront and don't quit making art. It really matters. We need to see all you, and you need to see us, and we all need to be, kind of making work together, even when the times are hard. So put your feelings in your art if you want to, or keep your feelings off to the side and make lots of beautiful paintings that are not at all about that hard thing, whatever works for you.
And we hope this episode helps. We acknowledge that it is a small drop in the bucket, but we hope that if you're listening to this and you needed it, that it was helpful. We can't control the world around us, but we can support one another. And we really believe in that. We are stronger together. And yeah, we're just so grateful to have you listening to us on here. We are a community in that way as well.
Yep. And if you want to join in our tangible community and feel more connected to working artists who are all pushing each other to keep going and making art in hard times, we would love to have you. You can go to the thrivetogethernetwork.com, our website, and find out how to join our community and what we offer.
And as always, Kaylan and I are here for you. We are cheering you on, and we believe in the work you're doing. Keep making it no matter what this wonderful, chaotic world throws at us.
Yes. Bye.